Let's talk about the best hip hop albums. The best hip hop albums in 2023. Man, this year has been kind of crazy for hip hop because it feels like people are just catching their breath, kind of regrouping for 2024. What do you think?
I would agree. I mean, there's been a lot of articles as well as media personalities have been talking about the decline of hip hop or just the fact that it's not hitting the same sales numbers. You have a lot of chart topping country songs now. Is obviously maybe that's the most popular music in America
Man,
right
I'm
now.
just gonna say it, fuck country, but I don't care. I don't care. You rednecks can come after me if you like. But on this video, on Front of Jump, your source for all things hip hop, we're going to review the best hip hop albums of 2023. And let's see what this looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and look at some major media sources and figure out what they've rated as their top hip hop albums for 2023, and we're going to rate those against our own rankings
Yeah.
and just kind of review this and get into it. So, for those of you that tune into this episode, comment below and tell us what your favorite albums for 2023 are and if they actually match Billboard 100 Hip Hop DX Complex, all the sources that
Yeah, I
say,
mean, it's like
you know,
whatever. I mean, people can say what they want about the music, whether it's popular or not. I think we listen to the music for experience, expression,
yeah, for the sake of music
connection.
itself.
Right. I don't care if it sold a million records or not. If it's good, it's good.
If it's good, and when you have skinny G motherfuckers on Rolling Stones trying to tell you what their favorite hip hop album is when the title of their magazine is literally the genre of another band, I don't know. I don't have as much trust in there. I trust the fans. I trust the hip hop heads. I trust the people that actually love to listen to hip hop to give us a good barometer on what the best albums are. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's take a look at some of the top ranking albums for 2023 and 2024 has also got some really cool upcoming albums that we're going to reveal in here as well. So when we got Hip Hop DX, one of their top picks is Danny Brown's Quaranta, which is Italian for 40, reflecting on his age of being 40 years old. We know ageism in hip hop is a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, Danny Brown is an acquired taste, kind of like Rotten Caviar or something else. I like some of his music. That song "Grow Up" is a dope ass fucking track.
Okay.
But this, I don't know. I can't really like everything he does. The two singles off this album that I've listened to were Tantor and Jen's Terrific Vacation. Now I did like Jen's Terrific Vacation. I thought that sounded dope, but you had different feelings.
Well, for me, Danny Brown doesn't really do much for me. He does have a unique voice, which nowadays is hard to come by. A lot of artists just kind of hop on the same Atlanta trap sound or get on
Auto
the New
tune,
York
yeah,
drill sound or the auto tune. So it's like
yeah.
you get so much homogenization of what the sound is. So Danny Brown is unique, but I preferred him with JPEG Mafia when they did the Scaring the Hoes project, which is not really on anybody's list, which kind of frustrates me because I feel like they're kind of undercutting what I would consider more of the underground flavor of hip hop. So this project is, I guess it's all right. Danny Brown by himself, he's never really done much for me. So it didn't hit my ears in a way where I'm like, this is a top project of 2023.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fans were following his journey through rehab and they wanted to support this album as part
Yeah.
of his journey towards sobriety, which I mean for any artist I can respect that, but musically it's all right. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's all right. It's all right.
wasn't really something that I was too attracted to.
I'm pretty cold on that project. I don't know what.
So now Hip Hop DX has got Killer Mike Michael. What an original title, Michael.
Mhm.
That's what my album's gonna be. I'm just gonna call it Syllable. Which actually would work better than Michael, to be honest. But Killer Mike, look, Run the Jewels, they have some dope tracks. And this, to be honest, this album seemed like it was so jam-packed full of features and other people that it almost felt like Killer Mike was trying to coast, similar to what Drake does sometimes, of stuffing his albums full of features, which I wouldn't mind if there were features like Rick Ross. But I don't know. To me, this felt like there wasn't very much Killer Mike on his album.
Well, Killer Mike is one of those artists that I respect what he's doing, what he's done for the culture because of the history with the Dungeon family and all that. But I always felt like he was a better featured artist versus being a solo artist. Some artists are just like that for me, right? I can hear him on a song and I love him on the song, but by himself trying to do his own projects, this one didn't hit for me. This project was pretty mid.
I would agree.
And you know, it was whatever. He had that one song where he was trying to like talk about this influential black leader, and I think he really missed the mark on that track. That was something that we reviewed.
I remember that.
He didn't really talk about anything civil rights related. It was more like braggadocio. It didn't hit the mark. So as far as Killer Mike having one of the best albums, I guess he dropped the album.
I wouldn't put this on the best album of any year.
Yeah,
it was his experiment in solo work, but as you pointed out before in other conversations, he does sound best when he is with Run the Jewels or he's doing features with other artists on their albums.
Yes.
But by himself, solo dolo, I would say solo no. Let's hit it up for Metro Boomin with Heroes and Villains. We did cover this. We can reveal our thoughts on that specific album in detail. Check in the upper corner of the screen for a link to that episode. But as far as this, I think this is a great moment in hip hop. And Metro Boomin, I like his beats. I think he's dope as fuck. I like his collaborations that he's done with 21 Savage, Don Toliver, Travis Scott, The Weeknd, A$AP Rocky. He's done some nice work. And in this, we got to see him be the soundtrack of one of the best films of this year.
Yeah. And what I like about Metro Boomin, unlike other producers that, you know, have done things or mixtape DJs, Metro Boomin tends to play the background and just be the producer. He's not on here trying to rap. He's not like Dre or Kanye. He lets everybody else do the heavy lifting as far as lyricism. And he just comes and brings in that hard-hitting, dark production that he's known for. I think he did a great job with this. Like, if you want to say this is one of the best hip hop projects of the year, I'm not gonna fight you on that.
No, I wouldn't.
He had all of the top artists of this generation on the project, and it sounded really good. It was a fun listen. So
definitely,
I agree with this one being one of the top projects.
Definitely. Now up next, we got perennial favorite Nas with Magic 3. And to be honest, Magic 3, and I'm a diehard Nas fan, it didn't really hit me that hard. I thought it was okay. I think if we're gonna put it in comparison to the other artists like Ice Spice, like Travis Scott, we will put it next to some of the artists that have released in this year. I would say it deserves to rank just because it's Nas. But again, comparing Nas to Nas's work, Magic 2 was better, in my opinion. Magic 1 was dope. The King Disease series, I felt was better all in all. Every KD1, KD2, KD3, I felt all those were stronger projects than Magic 3. Magic 2, however, Magic 2, which I really did enjoy. I think there was really nice tracks off Magic 2 where we were just talking about this for Nas's Magic 2, which we did review on a podcast.
Yeah.
I think Magic 2 is stronger than Magic 1. Magic 2 is stronger than
Magic 3.
Magic 3. That's what I was saying. I hate to throw Nas under the bus in any way because I think he's doing a lot for the culture. But at the same time, for Magic 2, that Irvin Magic Johnson track was just amazing.
Well, I don't know. I have mixed thoughts, like you say, about the Magic series in general. The Magic is like the mixtape to the King's Disease releases.
I would agree.
I really feel like, you know, this kind of brought it all home. There's definitely a lot of good music on there. If you're going to compare it to some of the other projects that are on this list, I'm definitely going to rank it higher than Killer Mike's project. And I'm definitely going to rank it higher than Danny Brown's project. So It's like, is that bad in the mix of things? Not really. I mean, you know, I feel like for Nas to be where he's at in the game, at his age, at how much he's done, how prolific he is, to still be in the conversation of having the best album of 2023, that's something of an accomplishment, right? Because
definitely.
This project doesn't have any singles. Like all these other projects were pushed like major albums. Magic 3 was just dropped.
It was just dropped. He was like, let me get it out. I'm done. I do like the fact that Nas turned 50 at the same time as the anniversary of hip hop turning 50, and the fact that he is able within his lifetime to be so legendary, to be so influential, to be a living legend. It's kind of like if Tupac was still alive today, what that would be like. That's what Nas's career reminds me of. Is Tupac or Biggie survived and they're still alive to this day.
And unlike some artists who think they have nothing to talk about because they're too old or whatever, you know,
Andre. Sorry, I feel
like Nas is a timeless type of artist, and I appreciate that he hasn't just let hip hop go because he's aged out of it, right? Like this is a big part of who he was, and it continues to be a big part.
So Nas, if you ever watch our podcast, and I don't know if you do, but if you do, please pick up the phone and call Andre. I know he's not in the same same training camp, of course, and definitely opposite ends
Yeah,
of the
y'all from
nation.
different regions,
But
So.
please reach out. Please reach out and tell him to get those granny glasses off. Start putting those lyrics he just revealed that he's still writing to pen and paper. Hey, Lupe, Nas, can you guys get together for an intervention for Andre 3000? I'm too old to rap.
The first rap intervention of in history.
Man, fucking get AZ from the firm. Like, let's get everyone together and let's get Andre.
Bring out Busta. Let's have a coming home party for
right.
Andre 3K.
Let's get a rehabilitation party for getting him off that flute music and back into hip hop. I mean, come on. So we got next up, cannot be disregarded for his post Astroworld disaster, Utopia. Ironically titled. I don't know if it is ironically titled given what happened before.
More like dystopia.
Yeah,
I mean, this project wasn't bad.
It was solid.
The production was really good. His rapping was really good. I think what we didn't like the most about this project was the energy. We felt like, he was a little bit on the shallow side, and maybe
he was acting butthurt about being held accountable for people losing their lives at a concert that he didn't have enough water, enough security, enough exits for, that resulted not in an intentional chaos, but it
recently
happened
with Beyonce concerts or Taylor Swift, and these are like ridiculous concerts, right? Like when
Adele.
Yeah, exactly. When people of that size throw a concert and then you see them stopping the show
because someone got hurt,
everybody's okay. We're not gonna keep just doing music
or having motherfucker raging on top of ambulances.
But I will say, in light of all of this, he did come out with a really good project. I think that this project is kind of a coming back to form for Travis Scott.
I agree.
And I'm going to continue to give him the credibility that he deserves for being a really good artist. Like,
likewise,
he understands how to make dope music, right? Regardless if I agree with him as a person.
Agreed. His use of dropouts and his ability to change the beat without you losing the tempo or rhythm of the song is a talent not everyone has. Drake. So what's really cool about this is, I've got hip hop critique syndrome where I just randomly yell out critiques of hip hop music. One of the things that we definitely saw with Utopia is Travis Scott doing his best Kanye West impersonation, and it was okay. It
did have a very much like a Yeezus sound to it, where it was abstract, it was dark, it was industrial, it was very kind of piss and vinegar type shit. So, like I respect
got a mix of Kanye, got a mix of Playboy Cardi, got a mix of OG Travis Scott. He definitely has developed a sound and a brand that many people have tried to copy unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
I don't like a rich rapper getting resentful for being held responsible for things that he could have done better.
Yeah.
Or I would have liked for him just to do an ad lib. I think if I was Travis Scott, I wouldn't ignore the elephant in the room. I would have done an ad lib as an intro or an outro. And I would have said, if I was Travis Scott, hey, listen, I just want to acknowledge Astroworld and just give my respects to the families there. I apologize, if I had any way I could have made it better that I didn't.
But I feel like he's still fighting some of this stuff in court. So maybe he's like,
there may be some
his
legal
lawyer
things.
might have been like, hey, bro, don't say you're sorry, or because it's like, that's like an admission of guilt. So I don't know. I think the project was good. I think there was some tone deaf things in there, but it definitely deserves to be one of the top projects of 2023.
Easily. No argument.
I'm not going to deny that.
What do you guys think? Vote in the comments if you think Travis Scott's Utopia definitely should be included in the top albums for hip hop in 2023. Next up, we have someone who has been more slept on than fucking NyQuil. Black Thought and the Glorious Game, who Hip Hop DX gives an honorable mention with smaller size font, not with this bright orange pukey gold color that Travis Scott gets. Nothing. And I'm like, come on. Black Thought was incredible.
I think he's just too big brain for people, and it's unfortunate because this is what I think rap is missing. Like you say, that spiritual, deeper connection where your words mean something.
Words mean something.
Picture, and they're helping you mature and become somebody that you may have not thought you could be, right? Like Black Thought is somebody who puts you in a space, right? We talk about lyrical dissertation type of stuff, and this project, although we didn't listen to it a ton, it's worth its weight in gold for sure. And anytime Black Thought drops, he talks about him comparing himself to himself in a lot of ways, where it's just like, of course you don't want to put him on a list, because any list you put him on, you might have to put your favorite rapper down a little bit.
I
And
know.
so
Well,
it's like you don't bring Mike Tyson into the ring and think he's not gonna knock somebody out. So it's like you
no.
just don't talk about
Well,
it. You're like, oh, he's Mike Tyson. He's
well,
just that guy.
it's like KRS-One. He finishes shit. You
Yeah.
don't come after KRS-One.
No.
KRS-One closes it out.
Yeah.
You don't come back with that. But, you know, Black Thought is one of those rappers who spends time thinking about life, and he shares his observations of that in his lyrics.
Yeah.
And his ability to sandwich flow together is so dope that when I listen to Glorious Game, the only comparison is going to be to Cheat Codes, his other album that he released before that, which was critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
But when we're thinking about it, I'm reminded of Remember the Titans with Joe Budden, or actually might have been Aftermath from Mood Music 4, A Turn for the Worse, when Joe Budden says, honestly, that crap of yours, you should raffle off. With me, they get ingenious parts without the Apple Store. Under the microscope, I rebut the scrutiny. If I'm to be compared, it's only to who I used to be. And that's what I think about Black Thought. Some of the lyrics off this album that I really love from Black Thought's work here definitely caught my eyes off of Grateful. He says, any sip you pour me is a toast to the warriors who bit the dust before me. That was dope. Off That Girl, he says, I tally my regrets, upsets, and shortcomings. What have I been taught from them? Some souls are sutured, and when you support someone, you invest in the future. Just the sandwiching,
come on, man,
of those rhymes.
and that's what I'm saying. Stop playing with the man.
That's too nice.
Stop honorable mentioning Black.
Honorably mentioning.
Yeah, come on, now.
Those bars are better than half the shit
I mean,
out there.
You got Danny Brown in there, like as your number. I know it wasn't numbered, but it's like, how can you honorable mention Black Thought, but then you like give
mentioning
so much
Danny Brown
to
first?
Danny Brown. I'm not saying he isn't a dope artist and he hasn't been able to reinvent himself and get back. Everybody loves a healing story,
A comeback story. Yeah, of course.
But Black Thought never left. And
No.
I think that's the problem. It's like, you know, when somebody's just on too long and too great, they're just like, knock them down a notch type of thing.
These motherfuckers out there are trying to not pay the electric bill and don't realize Black Thought's kept the lights on for you motherfuckers. Like,
yep.
He also raps in the title track, Glorious Game. Okay, I'm too black for y'all to erase. Shoot too straight for y'all to replace, too abstract for y'all to retrace. You all would be safe. Y'all a deep fake. It's so nice. And it's relevant.
Yes.
It's like, this is what's going on with the AI. Fucking, oh man, this is so dope. This is so dope.
It's too powerful for them.
And then, so who do they have right after Black Thought, as if he belongs in the same list? Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist. Now, I'll always vote for The Alchemist. He's classic and all this kind of shit.
But do you see what? So, like, look, Alchemist has the next. Look, I don't think it's the
Great
artist.
Escape.
I don't think it's the artist. I think it's Alchemist.
It
like
is
we talked
Alchemist.
about with Freddie Gibbs. Like, anytime somebody does a project with the Alchemist, it gets talked about.
Yeah.
And so for me, Earl Sweatshirt is not my cup of tea. I see this thing over here. He's saying elegant and intricate. That's not what I'm hearing on this shit. Stop pushing Earl Sweatshirt like he's the greatest lyricist of all time. Because Black Thought, what he was explaining with Black Thought's lyrics, I could not hear that in Earl Sweatshirt's
Not at all.
music. And if you want to give him like the slowest rapper of all time, like he doesn't rap very fast, like I'll give you that. But I don't listen to Earl Sweatshirt and get lyricists. Like I don't know why people revere him so much. Maybe it's some bars that I'm missing. Show me where his triple entendres are and some insular rhymes. I don't know what you're seeing, what you're hearing, but I don't get it.
Doris, his first album, I believe. I liked that album. I thought from that, if he stuck in that sense, I would probably listen to Earl Sweatshirt more often. But after the first album, I don't know. I feel like he's got lazier.
Building narrative with vivid imagery. I did not hear that in his rhymes. It's like I feel like this is some bandwagon shit. Some guy gets tagged as lyrical. He keeps rapping over Alchemist or hip hop style beats, and because he's popular, people just keep rolling with it. I ain't no disrespect to Earl Sweatshirt. I know he got his thing, but it's like I don't like it. I don't like it.
I would still listen to Earl Sweatshirt over Glorilla, but that's just me. That's just me.
Sure.
But listen, all you hip hop fans, aficionados, rappers, MCs, and producers that tune into this hip hop podcast, your source for all things hip hop. Front of Jump. What I will say is we have our own list that we've created of the top albums for 2023. Now,
Because
some
we
of these
definitely think this list is a little mediocre.
it's
right?
limited.
Like, it's like this is. I feel like this is a part of the reason why hip hop isn't getting the love, because the people who are making these lists, it's
Aren't
like they don't even
heads.
listen to
They
music.
don't even listen to hip hop.
It's like it was way more. So like let's pull up our list. It was way more music that came out this year.
Yes.
But this is all they can highlight.
Yes.
This is like, come on now. Like I'm not saying that Drake dropped the best album this year, but he did drop a project. It's worth mentioning, right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So first thing I would say on my list definitely is Magic 2, which they released, but also Glorious Game. I'm putting that at almost number 2 for the entire year, because Black Thought's album, whether I would probably put it like tie Cheat Codes and Glorious Game, especially that posthumous MF Doom verse,
Yeah.
which is dope as fuck. Check that out on our channel as well. We covered that and the lyrics there. But I would say I like that. Now, I did like Gunna, A Gift and a Curse. I know that that's not one of your favorite artists,
It's
but I
not
would
my
say
taste, but I respect that Gunna helped change the narrative on gangsterism in the culture, right? I think
I would
that's
agree.
another thing that's turning people off. You know, we talk about the hip hop publications not really tracking the albums, because if anything, Gift and a Curse should have been in this hip hop DX list, because
But it's
Gift
not.
and a Curse was a chart topping project.
Right.
It did show Gunna coming out in a new light by himself without Young Thug, right? And then being able to obtain the same level or maintain the same level of success post release that he had before. And whether or not he's my cup of tea or not, he is
got
somebody
the-
that is
He's got
has
the record.
accolades.
He's got the record sales.
Yes.
He's got the release schedule. He's got the tours. People came from all over the world to fucking hear him when he was doing his
Yeah.
tour, because he's built that fan base. And so what I would say is, despite snitch allegations, he still soldiered through that shit and did more
and dropped
successful releases.
some good music. Like I mean,
We got
some of the-
major artists having to cancel fucking tours because they
Yeah,
can't fill stadiums.
but Gunna's filling seats up.
But
And so
Gunna's
it's like,
yeah.
I like the fact that he's basically helping people understand that we have to stop this
the stereotypes of hip hop,
romanticization of
crime and poverty.
gangsterism
Yeah,
and crime and poverty. It's like, I get it if that's where you come from, cool. But you got people like, for instance, T.I.'s son King, who's getting mad at his dad, who's just calling him out because he's acting like a fake thug. And it's like,
yeah.
you didn't come from the streets like me, son. I'm a millionaire and I got money, and we made sure that you didn't have to. Oh, and then he's talking about, oh, I was in the hood when I was over at my grandma's house. And it's like, bro, everybody know if you at grandma's house in the hood, you not in the hood.
You're not in the hood.
You wasn't in the trap house. You wasn't in the crack spot, bro. You was at grandma's house.
No, this romanticizing of crime, we have to have a longer jail record to be more of a man. As someone who has served time in county, who got arrested for my first crime of assault when I was 16 years old, when I was jumped in a homeless shelter by 3 people, I've been going to jail for a long ass fucking time, and in different states. I've been to New York City tombs. My old stage name, Gnostic Prophet, is still tagged on the inside walls of New York City's tomb cells.
Yeah.
But am I trying to go back? Am I trying to teach my son to do that shit again? Nah, that's FUBU and that's bullshit. So maybe Gunna is teaching us something about the power of building an audience, building a following, having a rollout schedule, understanding.
And staying loyal to those fans. Like, that's all people wanted from Gunna was music. They didn't want to hear about whatever happened in jail. They wanted him to drop a project because they love his music, and that's what he did.
Now, one thing I will say is that what was that track we reviewed by Gunna? We did a reaction to one of his tracks where at the very end he talking about his other homie still locked in cell. That was a little insensitive, and I'd be like, "Look, if you're trying to get if you're trying to get murked,
he literally had dudes in a jail cell in the video, and I'm like,
that's a little tone deaf. I probably wouldn't have done that.
He was also riding in a white Bronco during the video, like he was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little tone deaf, but still a decent album.
What it is.
And I would say the Scary Hours version of Drake for All the Dogs would definitely belongs on the list.
And for all intents and purposes, for all the dogs,
we don't even see that on these lists.
For all the dogs was better than Honestly Nevermind.
Definitely.
It wasn't as, I don't think it was as hard hitting as Her Loss with 21 Savage. But I think Drake got too much criticism. He definitely made some bad choices. Probably could have had that album curated a little bit better, right? You know, I feel like it was just too many tracks on that. But obviously, Drake was smart, like we've said before. He heard all the backlash and he dropped Scary Hours.
That's dope as fuck.
And I think he's gonna continue to be successful doing what he's doing because I think what people want from Drake is for him to keep doing I'm gonna collaborate with the hottest artists in the game, regardless if they're young or old.
Well, Drake still got bars. It's just whether he's motivated to fucking spit them.
Yeah.
And
what was it, the 9 a.m. in Charlotte or whatever?
Yeah, that was all right. Yeah. But I mean, we're talking.
I think that's what people expected the project to be like, something more along those lines.
Yeah, I agree. But
I like the song he had with Chief Keef on there, even though that was a little bit
Evil Ways. I think is the track that everyone thought Drake was capable of doing, but hasn't done. Yeah. Now that he's teamed up with J. Cole, and they're gonna go on tour pretty soon, I'll be there for it. When they go on, if they come to Austin, I'll be at that show. Definitely, as long as they ain't doing $500, $1,000 tickets for general seating in the audience. Kind of gentrified ticket sales is that bullshit.
Like if you're a Drake fan, you got to be rich.
If you're a Drake fan, you're a rich white person. You can spend $1,000 on a fucking ticket and general admission.
Is that not his audience?
That's pretty much. But what I think is pretty funny is that this album, For All the Dogs, not the Scary Hours edition, but For All the Dogs, the first one, the Fat D one that Shawn C reviewed like months ago. Yeah. What I think is very funny about this is even in his own Wikipedia, the first thing they say in critical reception is Scary Hours 3 shakes off the toxic sludge Drake has been wading through as of late. That's very funny. Like even the Wikipedia is like, yeah, he was sucking, but now he's a little better.
I mean,
that's funny. That's funny.
I think his project was worth mentioning just because it was such a big project.
Of course.
You know, it wasn't a great project, but it was a big project.
And what I would definitely put as far as top albums of the entire year that I have not seen covered in any of these lists so far is Almost Healed.
This Dark album was awesome, man. Good. You know why he's getting so many issues getting covered? Because he has the bad press with all of the murders and stuff that he's been surrounding, as far as King Von, people coming out and having a negative reaction to his life and stuff like that. And I feel like they put that on Dirk, right? Like anything bad that happens around Dirk is his fault. And it's like, I think he talked about it in his recent track where it's like, he was born into this life and he's right now with this project trying to heal himself. The All My Life track with him and Cole, like it was so potent. That was one of the best songs of the year. So the fact that people are acting like this album was just let's shrug it off or whatever, it's like, come on now. Like he's trying to rewrite the narrative around the fact that him being, this artist that doesn't care. And I think he's a very talented artist. So I like this project.
I want to give a shout out for reprimanding one of the critics on Hip Hop DX, which it makes sense why they didn't list this album in their list, because one of the writers from Hip Hop DX, Louis Pavlakos, said that Dirk's insistence on making radio-friendly tracks includes another lackluster team-up for a pop crossover. And I would say, no, that's some bullshit, because if you're not going to allow an artist to grow in their career, you're going to always judge them based on their past. That does not represent reality. And so I have a problem with that. We should be celebrating artists that have gone through a growth or transformation in their career professionally, and we see them evolve. Big Sean is a great example of this. Big Sean's earlier work, I did not like at all. Yeah. I didn't. I wasn't a fan. But it wasn't until Paradise and he started actually getting his style evolved more into something that was easy to digest, and he just got his chops.
I could definitely say Big Sean grew on me over the years, and they always ranked him up there with the Drakes and the Kendricks and Coles, but it took him some time to grow into his own. So I respect any artist that is able just to keep that grind going. It's like you're not necessarily gonna make your best stuff at first, even though people are like, oh yeah, everybody's first album is always their best. Their first album is the most promoted. It's the most pushed by the label because that's what the label's going to do. It's like sometimes, like some of these albums we're going to cover, you didn't even hear about them because they didn't have the press behind them, because the labels want to push, Sexy Red and they want to push
sex tape that got released.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, don't forget there's money going into the back of these albums that are publicized, right? And that's why you see them. It's not because they're good albums.
Well, it's the same thing that specific media outlets with money just decide what they're going to promote. Yeah. But what I would say is I want to give flowers to Lil Durk for actually evolving as an artist from the young boy NBA beef era to actually collaborating with J. Cole for positive hip hop
Yep.
and also getting his sound defined where he had his gangsterism, his drill rap phase, he had his auto tune phase, and now after
Yeah.
that we're seeing this kind of mixture where he collaborated with was it KD2, KD1, I think it was KD2,
I think
where
he was on KD1. It was on KD.
KD1
Yeah,
with
with
little
Nas.
with little Dirk and Nas. It just shows that meeting of old school and new school. I think that's a beautiful thing, just like 21 Savage and Nas. Like I think we've seen that evolution, and so Hip Hop DX, get your head out your ass and respect the evolution of hip hop. To go on for our next up on the list for the best hip hop albums of 2023, I do want to put Moneybag Yo on there for Hard to Love. Kind of a mix between honorable mention, just because I haven't listened to every track on that album, but I do like the singles, and I really like the work he's done.
I mean, Moneybag Yo is a dope artist. I mean, some people would say a lot of his stuff sounds the same, but I think over the course of the year, he dropped some really cool projects. He did that one song about baby mamas where the baby did the video, and that video was one of the best. The baby has been on a
So
tear
nice.
with the videos, yo. Like
so nice.
like I don't know, man. Like he has the sauce when it comes to making videos.
The baby, I swear to God, is like the next Richard Linklater producer, or I would say even David Lynch with his kind of interesting what is it, art? What do they call that when you're avant-garde? I would say the baby's got some real nice filmmaking chops,
and he knows how to mix humor and reality in a way where it's like sometimes some of the scenes are they're too real, right? Like it's kind of harsh, but then he knows how to lighten it up to make it to where it's funny, right? And
the baby's a great filmmaker. I would definitely say that. And then up next we got Utopia. We've already discussed that. Definitely belongs on the list. And then Metro Boomin
for sure.
So initially when I was listening to Lovesick, because of the fact that Life of a Don was such an incredible album by Don Toliver, and really was one of the best albums that I would see that came out, I dismissed it. I kind of wrote it off, and I thought, you know what? I don't like it as much as Life of a Don, so I'm not going to really listen to this. But after I did a deeper dive and I listened to more of the tracks, he's got some really good tracks on this album.
I think it was the singles, right? Like
Leave the Club was dope as fuck.
Leave the Club was dope, but the end, how they kind of smashed in Glorilla on a different beat.
Glorilla just is like a new track.
The For Me track didn't really hit like that, So I think he had a song on his last project with Kelly Uchis that was really dope.
Yeah.
So I think it was some stuff in there that felt like maybe he could have had a better rollout for the project. But
if we're gonna put Earl Sweatshirt on Hip Hop DX's top albums of 2023, I would put this above that. Easy.
100%. And
a lot more talent.
I like him as an artist. Like I enjoy listening to Don Toliver's music.
Yeah,
I do not enjoy listening to Earl Sweatshirt in any way, shape, or form.
And then what I would say, definitely in the top 5 for this entire year. Top 5. Top 5. This is where Rick Ross, Meek Mill.
This is
too good
hatred right here
to be true.
This project is
some
super
shit.
Dope. Rick Ross always makes good music. I don't care if you think he's fake or not. I don't care if you think Meek Mill is irritating, like sometimes I do. But I'm saying overall, the way that this project was put together, the way that Rick Ross gets things produced, the mixture of the different artists and the songs.
He had Shaquille O'Neal on the fucking rap.
And the content, right? The content of this project was very real. Like in terms of when you think about some of the stuff that he's talking about, like when they talk about they don't really love you, like that is the song that really highlights the problems with people who get success or people who are at different spaces in their life and not realizing the fact that you got snakes around you, right? You got more
people change and money gets involved,
and then it gets to this space where people can't even appreciate the music just because they hating. Like this project was definitely one of the dopest projects we heard this year.
I think bar for bar, track for track, this accomplished more than Drake's For All the Dogs.
Production, lyrics, mixtures of collaborations. It was just a good project.
So you look at some of our biggest critiques for All the Dogs, and we're not talking about the other version of it. I'm talking about just the first version of For All the Dogs that dropped. One of our biggest critiques was track to track, Drake did not have flow.
There was no theme.
It interrupted, well, even thematic, topic wise, regardless, from a rhythmic standpoint.
It felt like
He
it was
interrupted his
yeah.
flow. He went from like a 4/4 beat, then had like a 7.5 bar dropout, and then goes on to the next part of the same song that sounds like a new song. The flow is not there. Travis Scott's got the flow in the dropouts.
Yes.
Drake tried to do that, didn't work very well. You look at this album, Too Good to Be True, track by track by track, it flows into the next one.
Yo.
There's none of those weird fucking ad libs where Kendrick Lamar's mother is baptizing him. Like it just gets smooth.
You really do not like the skits on Good Kid, Mad City.
I loved one of my most favorite albums of all time, but the skits interrupted the flow. But this was incredible, especially from someone who is not technically trending in the sense that all the new artists are, or the freshmen or whatever. Like
somebody was, and it was the proper length at 17 tracks.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that people were mentioning was the fact that because Rick Ross and Meek Mill aren't like popular right now, people kind of like they're forgetting about
the
that.
dream team.
And it's like in my mind, it's like
good music is good music.
Yeah, it's like why are people forgetting about him? Because it's a conspiracy to keep good music out of the mainstream. They want to put this poppy bullshit retarded music out. But when somebody drops something with some substance that's actually good, then they just brush over it. They act like they didn't even drop a project.
Yeah, no one is mentioning this on any site. We can even go
and then you got Danny Brown. It's like,
look, what the fuck? What the
fuck?
fuck? That's some stupid ass shit.
It's all right.
It could be
we gonna talk about the good music.
It could be that
we won't gloss over it.
It could be that they simply could not comprehend it. They listened to it.
They was like, this is impossible.
They're like, wait, no mention of designer drugs, no mention of Bentleys, no auto-tune crooning, no R&B bridge or dropout. This ain't music. I don't know what they were on. Well, cocaine's a hell of a drug. But up next, what we got is, I would say, Yeet Afterlife. I would give him credit. Now, this is
a project.
This is not one of my most favorite albums of the year, but I would say if motherfuckers are going to put Danny Brown on this shit, I will put Yeet on it.
I will put Yeet on it before I listen to Danny Brown. I feel like they're both equally eccentric. They're not like Yeet is something that you got to be into to listen to. It's not for everybody. But you notice that when he did that song with Drake, that song went to #1, even though it was a trash ass song.
Yes,
that's how poppin' Yeet is right now.
Yeah,
he was able to get a #1 hit with Drake, even though Drake's
song wasn't even that good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he's definitely up and coming. Yeah. His producer Benny X is insane.
Oh, Benny X is amazing.
This man is like otherworldly. If you ever like go and watch him cook up a beat. And he sometimes he does it with his son on his chest. And like this dude has like 18 different keyboards. And like, I don't know, like he's definitely from outer space, yo. And it matches Yeet's personality perfectly because they are both aliens and they're making like galactic music.
Well, if you were in his Discord, you would think he's alien as well because of all the partial sentences that don't seem to make any sense at all.
Yeah.
But that just could be an age difference.
People are on Discord. It might as well be like 4chan or some shit like that.
I would say shout out to 4chan. No shout out to 4chan. But
we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
What I would say, and for those that don't know what 4chan is, here is a brief search down Google 4chan. Yes, there you go. Now you know. Out. That's it. So what I would say is what I would say is definitely worth mentioning, though this entire album doesn't have track for track a cohesive project that I would say as a whole I would rank as some of my favorite albums. I would say they do have some great tracks on here, especially from a group that, as young as they are, they technically are old school to a lot of people that are just getting into hip hop in the past 5 years.
I think that they had some good single releases. I was probably expecting a little bit more from the project overall.
Yeah,
I like the fact that they dropped the project. Right, they kind of went
a track
and
of
did
Future
their solo thing. Sway Lee was really killing it with his R&B features, and I like that they came back. I feel like they matured as artists and
a bit.
It was some songs on there that we didn't 100% agree with, but
Torpedo was good.
I think it was a good project. Like it wasn't the best project, but it was worth listening to.
Agreed.
And I think people should be talking about it a little bit more.
And of course, Busta Rhymes, Blockbuster. Like, this is definitely one of the tracks I would put as top of the year because Busta Rhymes is an incredible lyrical rapper.
Yeah.
Where I think you need a radar gun to track the speed of his mouth when he's rapping. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. Having seen him live when he was on tour with Nas, that was an incredible.
And the fact that his health was so poor just a few years ago,
and he lost all that weight.
died.
Yeah.
And it's like but to think about it, it's like, you know, to go from being one of the top artists, right, to like almost losing it all, going through so much trauma that he went through, and then being able to recover and still come back with dope music. Like, I really respect Busta in the way that he does things. And once again, another older artist who seems to
still got
have
the
stuff
chops.
to rap about.
He still
right?
got
He
the
still
chops.
got stuff to rap about.
Andre 3000. Go ahead and take a look at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Preview some of the tracks. I will say for Nas's New York State of Mind tour with the Wu-Tang Clan, as well as Busta, surprise guest at the Germain Amphitheater in the outskirts of Austin, Texas, being able to see him up close rapping the way he does.
If Busta comes back to Austin
wow.
to do this project and has a solo set, I'm going to see it.
Well, so, you know, we've talked about this before, is that some rappers are really good at creating albums and some rappers are really good at doing shows.
Yes.
Some rappers are good at both doing albums and doing live shows.
Yes.
Wu-Tang Clan, they're great album artists. Live shows, not so much.
It's because they have
18 motherfuckers on stage.
Yeah, and not everybody is as
equally
good of a
talented.
Rapper. Like when Method Man raps, you know it. Like when
Ghostface
raps,
Killah, you know it. Yeah.
Like, and then everybody else, like, it's just kind of downhill from there. Like even Raekwon could be a little bit
right.
monotone.
But so then you bring out Busta, and he comes through. His pen game as well as live performance game is amazing. Unparalleled.
Yeah, he's so dynamic and animated, you can't miss it.
You know what I'd love to see? If we're talking about a versus and not a pre-recorded versus, but I mean a live battle, a freestyle battle, or even a pre-written battle if it's live, Busta Rhymes versus Eminem. That's what I want to see.
You know, I want to see.
That's what I want to see. What would you?
I think people
who would you have?
See it. You know why people don't want to see it?
Who would you have against Busta Rhymes versus Eminem? Who would you vote for? I can't say. They're both very talented.
You know why people don't want to see it?
Why don't they want to see it?
I feel like the people who put Eminem on this pedestal where he's like an untouchable rapper, they won't compare him to other artists, especially black artists, because they want to keep him on that pedestal. I'm not saying Eminem, we've said this before, we believe he's top 5.
Of course.
We actually believe he's probably top 3, right?
Easy.
But the problem is Busta does not get that recognition, and Eminem gets it more often because of his ability to be successful with his projects, even if they trash. Like Eminem still sells records with his worst albums, whereas Busta's has some pretty dud albums where it's like people kind of be like, eh. But if you talk about track for track, single for single, Busta's has some amazing hits.
Yes,
that I think do stand up to some of Eminem's best records, and I can't look away from the fact that Busta has some of the best songs in hip hop history.
No, I agree. So we're looking at Hip Hop DX. Why again are they missing one of the best albums of the year? I'll tell you why. Because of some punk ass motherfucker named Alex Siegel of Hip Hop DX saying, aside from a few moments where his trademark live wire energy shines through, Blockbuster tries too hard to capture the charts and new fans alike, relegating its headliners' usually dominant personality to second fiddle. Can you use less words in that motherfucking sentence? No, I would say incorrect.
I know y'all probably look at us, as some nerds or some dweebs or whatever, but I don't care how you look at me. Like, I'm not in the streets no more, but I definitely came from nothing, and I would not be writing a review of a hip hop album with that much literary.
No, what? How many?
Like, are you reviewing a hip hop album or
do you look? Just tell me, Alec. In real life, do you actually say relegating the headliners usually dominant? I mean, no one fucking
like who's reading that and being like, oh man, I ain't gonna listen to that Busta album
because he ain't relegating right. No one says that.
Like, oh, he's trying too hard. Like
he's relegating it wrong.
Like, I'd rather him try too hard than try too little.
Right?
What are you talking about?
That's some bullshit. But this is where we see the
that
actual
Big Everything track that we just listened to with T-Pain and the Baby.
Yeah.
that shit is fire.
It's fire.
That shit
Well,
is
this
fire.
is where you get to see the divide between actual hip hop fans that listen to the music because they like hip hop versus people that try to make money trashing it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, no. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. I would say we've already covered Metro Boomin, but for the last one for this live, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in, is Gucci Mane's Breath of Fresh Air. He had Pissy, he had Bluffin', he had a lot of really great tracks off that album. And Gucci Mane is giving motherfuckers lessons who are new to hip hop. Those fucking freshmen, those whack ass motherfuckers, what was it, Too Rare, fucking dancing around, couldn't spit one bar, sound like he was not even mumble rap sounded better than him, right? But he's on a freshman list. They need to study up on Gucci Mane's release because not only has he hacked the fucking YouTube algorithm by constantly releasing new tracks every other fucking week. It's like, what's trending now? Gucci Mane. What's trending now? Gucci Mane. What's trending now?
Gucci Mane is ridiculous.
Not only that, the music is good and it shows personal growth.
He's getting better, and this is coming from. You weren't into Gucci Mane. Like
I didn't like him when
back in the day. You looked at him as like whatever. He was just a random gangster rapper that had nothing to say. I love Gucci Mane. I grew up off of him. But the fact that you've kind of met me in the middle now, where it's like you like, all right, I can respect what Gucci Mane's doing.
Gucci Mane sounded boring. And it sounded uninspired because it sounded like the same song
was on drugs,
remade 100 times.
Yeah.
This shit sounds different, new, fresh. He gets introspective.
Yeah.
He's changed his diet, his lifestyle. It's incredible.
And it's like people don't want to talk about this stuff because they want to keep the narrative that gangster rappers never evolve.
They never change.
They never change. That people can't go from the streets to being professionals, to being
business
fathers,
owners,
to being husbands, to being members of their society. It's like we talked about Gucci Mane. They were like, "Oh, so now you want to talk good about him after he's destroyed the community?" I was like, "What? He sold a few drugs when he was young. Like Gucci Mane ain't like, yeah."
Look, why are we talking about Magic Johnson destroying the community by buying up a bunch of properties in Harlem and gentrifying it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in my mind, it's like I feel like people only see people one way, and once they decide that that's who that person is, they never look at them differently. They never give them a chance, and I just get tired of it. I get tired of the fact that we can't have influential black music.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
And I must edit my last comment. It was actually Michael Jordan. My bad. Michael Jordan bought up a bunch of shit in Harlem and gentrified the fuck out of it. Why are we talking about that? But agreed. I think his growth, going back to our comment when we're talking about Lil Durk getting shaded by the reviewers for hip hop critics about
he wants to make a pop record.
Right. Like, fuck you.
Why not?
And it was ignoring the personal growth, and that should be celebrated within hip hop because why are we encouraging stereotypical behavior? Why don't we encourage these kind of transformations?
Yeah, and why don't we highlight it instead of being like, oh, all these rappers, they just want to kill people and shoot stuff up? It's because you don't want to cover the artists that are actually trying to move forward and might have a different perspective of what they did in their former lives. And he talked about a lot of stuff where it was like people are crucifying him because his artists are getting locked up. Like he was the one to put the battery in the back to make Pooh Shiesty go shoot up the dude. He pulls up in this freaking yellow Lamborghini, I guess, to grab something from, and he ends up robbing some guys. And it's like, why are you a rich? You said this earlier. Why are you a rich rapper robbing people?
Yeah, it's stupid as fuck.
And it's like Gucci Mane didn't make that. And then somebody was like mad at him because one of his artists died. Right? He pays for the funeral, and they was like he didn't do enough. And it's like, what is he supposed to do? Give you half of his life earnings?
Okay, so Mr. Beast, the most popular YouTuber in the world, has recently built schools in Africa.
Wells
funded all this fucking
fix people's eyesight.
Yes, he helped hundreds of people fix their cataracts.
Yeah.
And what do the critics say? We should not be. He's able-minded.
White saviorism,
or oh no, he's an ableist. He's flaunting the fact that he's not disabled. And look, disability is not a good thing. People that are disabled don't want to be disabled.
I think Bill Maher had a really dope take on that, where he was
ridiculous.
Yeah, he's basically saying it's like when I was watching a streamer who was watching Bill Maher, and he was like, it's the reason why if you're into creationism and you like the Bible, obviously, you look at Jesus, right? And you look at his story and you're like, oh, too good to be true. It's like, no, when people do good things, they do get get crucified for it. This is what's happening. He's doing good things,
and
people are mad about it.
And
it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly.
With your life?
What do you fucking
And
do?
people are using this. They want him
So
to
same
be
thing.
bad.
So same thing for Gucci Mane,
Yeah.
right? When he makes positive moves, or Lil Durk makes positive moves, you got the motherfuckers hating just to hate.
That's
Well,
the hate.
Well, on more positive topics, I think that 2024 is going to be like a dam that is burst open, because I think there's a lot of pin-up hip-hop that's about to bust through. We have some upcoming albums we're going to let you guys know about. So coming up that it's going to get released pretty soon that I'm looking forward to is they say that there's going to be a Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre album that is coming up. I'm excited. That's like,
I am excited.
You
But
know,
is that really going to happen?
I don't know.
I feel like that's definitely. I feel like we about to be fleeced, man. Because I would love a new Dre.
That would be
Snoop
dope.
project.
That would be dope as fuck. There's some upcoming music that is coming up with more artists. Let's see. Where is so we surveyed the audience, and a lot of people were talking about some of these same ones. But let me go ahead and check out the upcoming albums for 2024. One of the things that I wanted to do is check this out. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. It was on the. So what's really cool, and you guys may not know this, is that Wikipedia actually does a really good job of covering the year in hip hop.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things about this is they got upcoming releases.
Mhm.
Some of the ones that I'm excited about that are coming up pretty soon. I would say I'm excited about Black Thought, Streams of Thought, Volume 4.
Yes.
That definitely is something
Absolutely.
that I want to see. One of the other ones that I thought, Diddy, I don't know what's going on with him. We're gonna wait and see about that shit. Ghostface Killer, Supreme Clientele
That
2.
Future project, you said Monster 2, you want to check that out?
Monster
I
2,
always
Future.
like Future.
The one of the Jid Forever and a Day. I want to check
Jid
that
is
out.
dope.
That looks
Is
dope.
that Jid and Metro Boomin? Yeah, that should be fire.
Yeah. LL Cool J
And
and
Eminem.
Eminem.
Do we think this is?
That's what I want to see.
like-
Is this a prank?
Yeah, I feel like we get fleeced.
Is
on
this a
one.
prank?
There's no way.
I want to see that.
There's no way we're gonna get.
I want
to.
to see that shit.
Yes, I do.
That's gonna be fucking dope as fuck. And then let's see. I think there was one other. Is we got new albums by Tech Nine. The Roots got a new album supposedly coming out.
I gonna have a project. I'll check that out.
Yeah. So, what are you guys looking forward to the most for the upcoming hip hop albums of 2024? What did you think about our ratings? Did you think Hip Hop DX was actually accurate by excluding some of the top artists that we've mentioned on here? Let us know in the comments what your favorite album for hip hop in 2023 was, and what you're looking forward to most in 2024. And tune in next time for another episode of From the